Meta Lab. It's a weird episode. It's discomforting almost because something weird has happened that I've never expected would have to happen, and I have to open in a very strange way this week. Let's get away with it then. I'm joined this week. I'm Jason. For those of you who are unfamiliar, I am joined this week by Tom.
Hello, everyone.
I'm joined by Mike.
Hello.
And I am joined by the 2018 Fall WKO sealed winner in Whitby, Ontario, the Black Panther. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Even when he gets it, I'm not giving it to him. Say hello to Jay.
Speaking for the Black Panther tonight.
It's okay, Jay. Wakanda forever, buddy.
Local representative from Wakanda.
The man who sat behind him.
Hey, behind every great man, there's a great... Sorry, Jay. All right, I've had my fun.
We love you,
Jay.
Jay.
Congratulations. Spoiler alert on your big win in Whitby this past weekend. It's a lot of hard work, and it finally paid off. I no longer introduce you as just Jay. You have won something now. If I start doing title introductions, I got to include yours now. How's it feel, Jay?
Good. It finally happened.
Yeah, it's a long time coming.
Long time.
A little anticlimactic because I feel like there's a 99% chance I don't even use the qualification. And I kind of feel bad for Tom, but other than that, pretty good.
Didn't you get one in the last wave of WKOs?
No.
Okay.
No, I got to fight for my way in, but that's fine. I got time.
Ah, shucks, Tom. Then maybe you
and me
get
both,
top
Tom.
2 this weekend.
I mean, you did win an Open the last round before this previous Nationals. I'm not worried about it.
It'll, if it's going to happen, it'll happen. If not, I'll take my chances.
It could happen on Saturday. We never know.
All right.
We never know.
Let's get to the meat and potatoes of it, as it were, guys. Has anybody done anything other than the WKO this week in HeroClix that they need to talk about?
Mike and I played a casual event.
We played a casual event. Jay made a really mean team. He slapped us around for a while. It was over quickly. We don't need
That
to
sounds like
dwell
casual
on
My team
play with
wasn't-
Jay.
I will say this: Runaways, a lot of fun.
Mhm.
A lot of fun. I made a team mix of Fast Forces and regular set Runaways. They were a ton of fun. Wakanda Forever, good map choice. Yeah.
I was actually
That's
this close to also making a Runaways team, but the problem is I played Nico Rare on a mystical theme team just last week. And I don't have the new Gert in hand yet, so couldn't quite make that happen. But for 300 points, I mean, you can't really do them at much higher than 300 points, but they do look hella fun.
I always get no ways the losers because they're losers.
Ooh.
Damn.
Okay. Mike, I remember correctly, you made the top cut, right?
I did.
All right, so I'm gonna go first because I didn't do well. I am definitely showing a lack of practice lately in HeroClix, to say the least. I mean, part of it was pretty rough pulls. So it was Secret Wars Battle World sealed for the WKO and Whitby. My rare selections were Jennifer Kale and what was the other one? Something I didn't use. Bushmaster, which in hindsight I probably could have made use of. But in my uncommon slot, I was lucky enough to get the 70-point Spider-Man, the 80-point She-Hulk. So those were kind of those two figures I think ended up being the best two combination of figures that were on my team, which is a reflection on what I pulled. And I just kind of worked around that. In hindsight, I probably could have used a Thor a little bit better, maybe use Bushmaster. I was fine with what I pulled because I did about as well as I could with it. It was 5 rounds of Swiss, cut to the top 8. My first round was up against Stan, the man, HeroClix Stan. His team was it was Ultimate Thor. It was a 25-point Thanos duplicate, and it was the Iron Goblin. And I got lucky, so lucky, when that Iron Goblin just kept rolling that Battle Fury when he needed to not roll Battle Fury. It was like, oh, thank you. That was my reaction on a regular basis with it. And Stan made a massive critical miss with a Ultimate Thor that allowed me to just team up on it and get a lot of damage in on the Ultimate Thor. I was able to kill a Thanos duplicate early, courtesy of a precision strike from Jennifer Kale, the salad lady herself. And I also had like a Magma Man on my team. Don't sleep on those guys, man. If you see those across the table from you, they can do a ton of damage with unmitigated or unwatched, because they have that poison. Then if they are attacking a single character with an attack, they do have Quake, which is why they specify that. And they do 3 damage when they do this. But if they hit, after actions resolve, they can deal 1 penetrating damage to the hit target. So they can deal 4 damage, 5 damage in a single turn, and this is a 45-point character. There's a lot of damage potential in some small figures in this set. So that guy did a ton of damage for my team, and just in general, everything worked out for me. And then from here, every game felt like an uphill climb, and I had to, like, and even against Stan, like, every action I took felt like I was doing quadratic functions. Like, hard-based algebra and predictive algorithms were required to figure out how I was going to make individual actions. And a lot of my first 2 turns were perplex up defense and remove the stasis token from Spider-Man. My first 2 turns a lot of times were very stationary because of that. Second game, I was up against Cecil, who pulled the Spider Iron. His team consisted of a Spider Iron Fist, a Maestro, Bushmaster, and a Captain America, I want to say. No, he had the Spider-Man as well. Because we both agreed we were just going to start the game on turn 3. Because neither of us had any intention of moving up. So it was, you know, we're not moving. Let's just go to turn 3 right away. How's that sound? As an agreement. No, it's gentleman's agreement, as it were. And this, I just got out-baroned on this game because between Maestro and the Spider-Man, it was just an uphill climb. At the end of the game, he had the Spider-Man and the Maestro left, and I'd almost killed the Spider-Man. So, like, every game was a war against me, and I had, like, down to the wire games a lot, where there was a lot of games where it came down to just a punch fest at the end. My third round up against Nick Peterson. Oh, by the way, I lost the second round. I lost every round after the first round, so spoiler alert on that one. My third round was up against Nick Peterson. He had a very similar functioning team to mine, minus the Spider-Man, but he did have, like, he had a little bit more overlap on the damage in his case. He was able to lead out with an attack, which I negated with Jennifer Kale rolling support. But then it was just attack, I missed, attack, I missed, attack. So it's like the back and forth, and then all of a sudden the backs started winning, and the fourths were not going forth. So, yeah, that's we both kind of looked at it and said that's how that went, and he agreed. So, then going to the fourth round up against a Patricia Lamb. Now here's my chance to break in to the 2-2, which could possibly get me a 3-2, and I had a ton of points going into this round. Like, Nick Peterson had 2 figures left, and they were Stick and Ultimate Thor. He had Ultimate Thor, Rare, Iron Man, the Tony Stark Inventor, and I think I said Stick already. So, Patricia Lamb had Captain Marvel and a bunch of 50-point characters, including Sheriff Steve Rogers, Thanos Duplicate, Bushmaster, and something else. I can't remember. I also had an Iron Man on my team. I think I didn't mention this. He's my source of TK. This is the one game where Iron Man did the most different things, because I started using his barrier. And I used his barrier to try to limit Patricia's retaliations against me. And it worked for the most part. I had all of Patricia's team dead except for the Captain Marvel. The unfortunate fact is Captain Marvel got a damage off in close combat. And this is the prime Captain Marvel. So she healed and then had hypersonic, and then I just had my only option beyond there, and this happened again in my last round too, in the 5th round, was to up damage and try to break through her defense, and it wasn't breaking through, and I ended up losing that game after being ahead fairly early. Like, I could have probably taken my time, played a little bit smarter, done a little bit more running away, but when it came down to it, because she had the hypersonic, she was going to chase me down anyway. And then 5th round, I was up against Sharif. Sharif is the exception to the rule for my dice. My dice are hot every time against Sharif. And there's camera evidence of this, because I'm the one, I disintegrated his bat cave. It's on record. So I'm up against Sharif. Sharif has the Spider Queen and a Man Thing Commander. I'm already 1-3, so I don't care. I'm playing like a maniac. But that's the thing. Against this team, that's the only option I had. He won the map roll, so we took us to Wakanda. He stayed in the hindering terrain. He perplexed up the Spider Queen's defense. I didn't care. I went for an energy explosion with She-Hulk, and I hit. And then I followed up with an attack from Iron Man, and then I hit again. And and then at one, like, he got the Spider Queen to Colossal, and then he moved into my team. But that's when Jennifer Kale went for a Hail Mary mind control on the Spider Queen and finished off his Man Thing Commander. And then I put everything into damage, because no matter how much I would hit, he would be able to steal energy it back. So I need to put everything into damage in all my attacks, or I was going to lose. And I missed. This is where my dice went from hot to hot, but not hot enough, because like I would need 10s and I was rolling 9s. And then it just all fell apart from there, and Sharif ended up taking up a win on that one. That was it. We went to a battle royale afterwards. I won the battle royale because I was in a mood. I also pulled a Spider Queen, and I pulled a Spider Queen in the battle royale on my first pick. It was Spider Queen, and then the person who got passed, their first pick was going to be Maestro. Like, Spider Queen and Maestro in the same pack in a battle royale is a nightmare. It's like, I'm giving a Maestro to the next guy. Luckily, the guy to my left didn't pull anything good in his first pack. Like, well, here you go, you got a Maestro. You got that to work with. And then I ended up having like Sheriff Steve Rogers, Thoris, and Crossbones, and the regular Captain America, and just like that alone, the enhancement in the PD on that, I was just absolutely annihilating things. So I felt good after that. And you know, I've actually got quite a few of the prizes after the battle royale and after some draws and stuff like that. So I feel pretty good when it comes down to it. I'm missing the Hussar and the Rogue now. That's it.
Let's not forget that you were Fellowship, my good friend.
I was not Fellowship. I was Second Fellowship. Amber was Fellowship. But yes. All right. Jay and Tom got to the finals there. So, Mike, your story, sir. Oh, we lost.
And he's
Mike.
muted, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
He's
Mike
muted.
Is muted.
Damn it. Oh, well. Yeah, I will. I apologize in advance to some of my opponents, because another one of those days of a lot of clicks, and it all blurs into one, especially when you play in a sealed event, because you start to see a lot of the same figures over and over again, right? You know, a lot of people pull the same things, and it really blurs. It didn't start off great in terms of my feelings when I opened my boosters, especially with Tom sitting across from me and pulling 2 super rares, and James beside me pulling a super rare, and I didn't pull anything better than a rare.
You could have been sitting across from the guy who pulled 2 Thanoses. So
yeah, right. So so that was a little tough, but it didn't look good in terms of what was in there. But I managed to pick out the gems of what I needed from there. So my team ended up being Ultimate Thor, which is always a good figure, good values, outwit. There's not a lot of it in this set, so it's nice to have. And I will admit that I had improved targeting, ignores, hindering until the end of round 2. But that's also a good ability to have. So I had Ultimate Thor, Viv Vision, who I think is a great piece. But like I mentioned last week when we were talking about Sealed, unfortunately, there's really nobody in the set except for, I think, 2 robot keyword figures that she can utilize the special aspect of her special power with. But say no much. She's still a great figure, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to build theme, so having a figure with probability control was actually pretty huge for me. And then I rounded out the team with Outrider, Alex Wilder, and Molly Hayes. Pretty sure that was my whole team. Knowing me, I probably forgot something. What I was thinking about when I was building my team and I was trying to figure out the last couple of pieces, I actually was looking at the fact that I had Outrider who ignores blocking for movement. I had Viv Vision who ignores blocking for movement. and I had Molly, who destroys, ignores blocking for movement. So I kind of was building around this idea of picking a map that will have a lot of blocking, take advantage of the blocking to hide in, but knowing that I could easily move through this blocking. And I could always use Molly just stepping through it to punch holes for Ultimate Thor. So my first game was against Aiden. I cannot for the life of me remember what Aiden's team was. You should know, Jay. You were like in the car with him. But anyway, I don't remember what his team was. I managed to win map roll, though.
He definitely had a Sheriff Strange.
Yes, he pulled the Chase Sheriff Strange. So wait, he had Chase Sheriff Strange, Sheriff Steve Rogers.
It's an old West team.
It was really funny, too, because every time it's like, Sheriff's going to roll. Which one? Steve. Which one? Yeah. Sheriff Steve, which one?
And then Sharif would walk by and get confused.
Sharif don't like it.
That's right. I cannot remember what else he had on his team, damn it. I mean, I was still like, oh my God, you pulled the Chase. I hate you so much. I want that Sheriff Strange. He didn't really have great dice. I picked the office map because I won map roll. I did what I wanted to do with using the blocking to make it so that he couldn't just come out and make attacks. I took shots when I needed to. And I really utilized as well Outrider and Outrider's whole thing where you can only target him with Outwit, Perplex, and Prob, or yourself with Outwit, Perplex, and Prob if you're adjacent to him. So in all my games, I managed to find a way to get him next to somebody. If he was, if someone had Outwit, then I would make sure that I got the Outrider adjacent to them and in stealth so that they couldn't even see him to outwit him, which pretty much negated their Outwit. And in cases where they didn't have Outwit, it was the Perplex, like with Sheriff Strange. Again, I got Outrider next to him to basically say, that's fine, deal with him, perplex yourself, and took apart the rest of his team. So I actually won, I think I took about 100-something points, 110 points. It actually was really close at the end. He could have snuck around at the end and made up some points, but I managed to get a good, half his points in the first win. My second game, man, it's hard to remember all those games yesterday. Because I played, well, I know my final three. I'm just trying to remember who my second game was against. That's the hard part.
Game as per the win was Derek.
There we go. Thank you. Who likes to call me his arch nemesis all the time, every time. And I don't remember Derek's team either. I'm so tired right now. But I had nothing but good dice against Derek. I ruined his team. I took 300 points and I lost no points. So that was a really good game. I was in a solid position at 2-0. And then my third round game was against Patricia Lamb. And, Patricia's a great player, man. She always is. I'm always nervous when I sit across from her. I think it's something about the thing. Patricia's a super nice player, very helpful and knowledgeable in the game. So I always think she's mind messing with me. It's like you're being too nice to me right now. What are you setting me up?
Canadian born.
Got this perfect merging of Canadian politeness, but then she just gets you, good. She's tricked me a couple times in some good games. So anyway, as Jay mentioned, she's running a team with that prime Captain Marvel and the Sheriff Steve Rogers stuff. I don't think she ever rolled Steve Rogers' leadership successfully. She never rolled Killmonger's economic thing successfully. Thank goodness, because I didn't have any leadership. I couldn't act with two actions. I made one mistake at one point where Killmonger was adjacent to Outrider, and I actually let him outwit Ultimate Thor, who was at a distance, and Captain Marvel came in and hit him. She healed up onto that second click, and I was like, I'm in trouble. This is over. Well, no, because Patricia's dice decided to say, no, it's over for her. Her dice tanked hardcore. There were a couple of rolls where she needed a 5 and she rolled 4s. Thanos duplicate came out to try and take out the Outrider and failed every single attack that he made on the Outrider, needing a 5 every time and failed every time. I hit everything. I managed to kill. So after Captain Marvel hit me and healed up the 1 click, I managed to get Alex Wilder in position and outwitted her defense and just ripped her apart in, I think, 2 turns. It was crazy. The dice completely decided our game, and we were both making smart plays and good moves, but everything Patricia went to do didn't work, and everything I went to do worked. Which, unfortunately, when that happens, there's not much you can do. I took full points again in that game, and I think I only lost maybe like 25, 50 points or something. Oh, no, I think she actually managed to kill Ultimate Thor, so she got the 125, but I got full points. So I was at 3-0, and pretty shocked that this team was doing as well as it was doing when I saw some of the other stuff people pulled. And then I faced James McAllister. I remember his team well because McCaster. Sorry, James. See, I remembered your team, but not your name. Mike's always screwing something up. So his team was Dino Thor, Iron Man, but the Spider-Man Iron Man, the Spider Island Iron Man, and Viv Vision. So I know what Viv Vision does. He knows what Viv Vision does. This was the first time I actually lost map roll. All the other games I picked the Office, WizKids Office. I lost map roll, and he... oh, no, sorry, incorrect. Patricia won map roll as well. She picked the Underground, and I still won on that. James picked the Underground. So I felt like, well, that's fine. I still got all these guys who ignore blocking and stuff, so I'm not so worried about it. Everything was going the way I wanted it to go. He came out and managed to hurt somebody a little bit, but I wasn't worried about it. I kind of knew it was going to happen. Everything was positioned the way I wanted it to. Well, my dice decided to pull a Patricia Lamb dice, and everything I did failed. So I made some moves to come out there to try and take apart that Iron Man. He was very vulnerable. I missed everything on him, and then James just picked me apart. Everything worked for him. It's just the way it goes sometimes. He was smart too. The second thing he killed was my Alex Wilder, so that he could steal the Alex Wilder over to his team. And now he's either got a prob or a perplex. Even if I'm not giving him outwit, those are still great. The modifiers are great. There was really nothing I could do. James played it really smart as well. He made sure to get those crack the case tokens on Dino Thor to get some free attacks in there. He wiped me out. The game felt like it was closer than the score, which was full points for him and no points for me. But he said too, he felt like it was a close game the whole time. And like I said, it was really just tanked the dice. Service, because I had got the 0 points in that game. I didn't have tons of points with my 3-1. So I knew if I won my next game, I was in. But if I lost it,
well, Renee, I do have to ask
and I didn't have a lot of points, who knows? So my last game was against Aubrey Smith. Aubrey's a great player. He's been playing a long time. He's beaten me a ton of times. A very smart player. His team was the Thanos Super Rare, the Thor, and Killmonger, and an Outrider, I believe was his entire team. So he was trying to pull off the same stuff with the Outrider that I had been pulling off, which is smart. I'm amazed at how effective that character is, especially if you can drop him into some hindering. Like I said, it's like a free negate of outwit unless the person ignores hindering for line of fire. So we were both playing around with that and positioning that. I picked the Office again and took advantage. He put Thanos in a position at one point where I don't think he was sure that I could actually get into position, take out a wall, and make the shot. But I did. I had just the right amount of movement to move Molly Hayes 5 to get within 4 of his guys to then have sidestep. So I free sidestepped through 2 walls, popped the walls down, sidestepped over with Ultimate Thor, pinged Thanos, and took him down a couple of clicks. Then there was a lot of positioning and so on and so forth. But once you've got him down a couple of clicks, he's a lot less scary. He wasn't playing him at the higher point value. He was actually playing him at the lower point value, so he could build out his team more. It was a lot of good choices. Viv Vision is amazing. When you can perplex her up and come charging through a wall with an 11 attack, heavy object, and her own prob. So she was one hit killing some people here and there. But then it became really tight. I dropped some figures too. He killed Alex Wilder and took him, and that helped him catch up on some points. But then I killed Alex Wilder and took him back again. So I was up by about, I think it was like 35 or 40 points. So it was super tight. And I had to start running away. He still had Thor left. He had Thanos left, and Thanos had hit Steel Energy and come back off of it. So he was still beefy enough. Didn't have a move and attack power. So I ran. I hate running. It's something I rarely ever do. But the way the dice had been going, I just knew that if I put myself in a position, made the attack, and the attack failed, he was going to kill me. He was going to take the points. And I knew there wasn't much time left. So I think about 3 turns went by of me running around, and then time was called. I won 110 to, like 75. So super tight game, but 4-1 made the top 8 cut, which was, wow, amazing. I will say, too, that I felt more pressure to make the top 8 cut because, unfortunately, the store didn't get enough exospecs so that all the participating players could get some. So they had mentioned that they'd be giving them for sure to the top 8. And so that made me really want to make the top 8 to get me some exospecs. So once that happened, I was so happy. Everything after that, it was all gravy. We went over to Tim Hortons, had little Timmy's there. The Tim Hortons 4.
The Tim Hortons 4.
Yep, the Tim Hortons 4. So we went over there and had a little chat and chilled out and came back. I exercised my new free rights as a Canadian, and then went back in and played more clicks. So my first round of the top 8 was against Patrick Chow. I played Patrick many times over the years. They're often difficult games. He had Witch Queen LeFay.
Oh yeah.
I
think it was like
Alex Wilder and Ultimate Thor.
Yeah.
Heck of a team.
So I'm thinking, hey man, I made top 8. This is awesome. I got my access specs. Everything's great, man.
Yeah.
Today was
See
a
you
great
guys
day.
later.
Today was a great day. He wins map roll. He picks the underground. And I'm like, okay, you're actually kind of really helping me out with the underground right now. Okay, it must be Mike's birthday or something. Christmas came early. So I kind of know what I want to do on this map from having played on it against James, having played on it against Patricia. I know exactly the 9 squares from the one end of the map will put my Outrider into a nice juicy 4-square middle part of hindering. I know I can go there. So he moves out. It's a bit of positioning, right? We're counting squares. We know how far people can go. And then he puts, I wish I had a picture of the map. I wish I had like I could. He puts Witch Queen LeFay in a position and puts Alex Wilder in front of her into some hindering terrain because Alex has stealth. And then he could put, yeah, it's the underground. Yeah, so that little square, so not the 4 square there. If you go up a little from that 4 square, that first square of hindering, no, not that one, the one down, yeah. So she's behind that. Alex Wilder's in that. My end of the map is south.
High quality production values here.
Right, you love this, eh? So he puts Alex Wilder there. He's standing behind her. If he puts Thor on her right-hand side, so the left side there of the map, to the left of the one, yeah, I can't see him. I can't see her. She'll be, because the angle I'm coming from is all from the left side. He doesn't do that. I move Ultimate Thor out. I outwit her movement power. I'm like, wow, okay. I sidestep back into the hindering, in that 4-square hindering. I get Alex Wilder in front of him. So now I've got this little protective world around my Ultimate Thor. I know what he can do, which is just move his Ultimate Thor out and outwit my outwit. And that's what he does. I'm okay with it. I still have my defensive power. I'm thinking though, well, if he's smart, he can position, and where he's put Ultimate Thor is behind a wall. If he moves Alex Wilder out of the way, he can pulse wave me. He could probably even get a single target pulse wave off. He chooses hypersonic, and he hypersonics on Ultimate Thor, and he hits him, and Ultimate Thor takes 2 clicks. So I lose outwit, but she then just kind of runs back to that area, and I just jump all over that opportunity. I kill Alex Wilder. I don't even go for her because Ultimate Thor now is over here. She's here. I kill her mastermind fodder. And now I have 2 Alex Wilders. He never gives me outwit, right? Smart move. Don't ever give me outwit. But now I've got 3 probs on my team and 2 perplexes. So I use my Alex Wilders to constantly perplex down her defense. Perplex at my attack, third world, using my perplexes on his defense. I nail her with Viv Vision coming through a wall with a heavy object, nail her for 5 damage. And then I use my Alex Wilders both sidestepping in and punching her for 1 each to kill her. And I'm like, I don't even understand what just happened. I've now got 2 Alex Wilders on my team. I've killed Witch Queen, and he's got an Ultimate Thor left. I just proceeded to rip Ultimate Thor apart, and next thing I know, I won with full points and lost nothing. I still don't. It was like a Christmas miracle of events for me. So yeah,
the late tournament exhaustion.
That's it. I think I have the outwit, or I don't know what, or maybe in his mind, it's going to turn around and it doesn't matter. It just will never understand why the not pulse wave. But regardless, yeah, it was amazing. It blew my 4. Of course, though, I knew out of the top 4 that the team I did not want to face was Black Panther, Red Wolf. And sure enough, I faced off against Solomon.
I heard that guy did pretty good.
Well, funnily enough, I got map. I picked the office. There was actually a turn where Jay's like, you can't make an attack. You're not going to make an attack this turn. You can't get to this person. And I actually managed to get Molly Hayes to expose Red Wolf, to sidestep out, to hit him. I just didn't have enough damage to kill him. Jay was smart. Jay didn't give me perplex because he knew the modifier was way more beneficial than outwit was ever going to be, because he's got a power cosmic guy and his other guy has stealth. So Jay's smartest move of the whole thing was to constantly never let me have the perplex, never let me have the modifier. Because why, right? Why?
Yeah, because the thing was, if you hit me harder, that just ruined the game. Whereas your numbers were high enough that you were no prob. You already had a prob. Didn't matter.
Exactly. Like if I had a hit and 1 hit killed Red Wolf, I'm now backing up and running away and forcing you to just keep extending Black Panther.
I couldn't really one-shot anything reliably. So yeah.
Nothing worth the points. Nothing to make up the points. So that was... I did manage to kill Red Wolf, not on that attack. I heard him. It took an action or 2 more, and that was enough time for Jay to get the positioning to be taking out some of my guys. He got up on points, and once again, I don't blame him at all. He picked phase teleport every time and ran away. And then I spent the rest of the game shooting walls and walking Molly through walls. And I managed to get 1 attack off at one point. I think, once again, late day tiredness where we both didn't think the math worked out. And then all of a sudden the math worked out. But I don't need. I think I
It was
actually
when I was
got
already-
through your. I think
it
I got
was-
through your thing and hit, and I got through your super sen.
Nope. Skype it out.
Oh,
Wall part.
that last sentence cut out.
Someone else is Skyping out?
Yeah, Tom.
Weird.
Who
He
cut
basically-
out. Everybody.
Yo, you're cutting out.
Yeah, I was like, oh, everybody's frozen.
That's weird.
I'm not the only one.
All right. All right.
He did get a couple shots off on Black Panther. I think I ended up on the energy shield shape change click. So not
Yeah, early on, I hit him a couple of times.
you hit me for 2 and then I think 2 again.
Yeah, because you did end up.
Yeah, I ended up on click 5 at the end of the game. Not that it matters
Yeah.
if I'm not on click.
Not that it mattered. And yeah, because that move and attack.
Oh, dear.
Because why risk a crit like that? That's just how it worked out. No issue with it. So happy to have made the top 8. I believe I made the top 4. I didn't get other.
We
Great day.
I'm glad that you started cutting out right at the end.
It's tradition.
Oh,
You can't, if you're going to cut out, you got to cut out when you're wrapping it up and saying, I really enjoyed the event. I got all these positive things to say.
And you can
this
throw in
is
some
where my
expletive.
internet's going to say, no, you don't have to tell anybody that. And this is why everybody
Wait.
thinks everybody's miserable on the
Am I-
internet.
Am I back? I don't know if I'm back or not now.
We're not
Seems
doing
like
it
it.
either.
So far.
You're tomming out.
Anyway. Oh, great. Anyway, it was a great day. And I love CBA, and I love going there, and I love playing at their events. Canadian Nationals to be there. Oh, boy, that's a really big cough. Anyway, they're
And
amazing.
an accurate one.
Right?
And Luke in the chat says, Mike, we love you, but this makes me want to throw a child into the sun. Oh, a little while there, Luke, but
Yikes.
Child into the
I
sun.
know.
What?
It's like, seriously, dude, come on now. Calm down. It's just an internet show. It's just a little YouTube show about HeroClix. Just calm down. Okay, nobody needs to go into the solar.
Why does he want to throw kids into the sun? What did I do to offend
Tom,
his
how's your day
sensibilities?
going?
Ooh. Oh, we going over to me?
We're over to you, Tom.
All right. Well, I'm going to minimize you all so that there's nothing on my screen except a backdrop in the hope that that will, improve my internet connection. Who knows?
Here's hoping you don't Tom out.
Yeah, exactly. The OG Skype machine is here to show you how it's done with cutting out. So yeah, as it's been alluded to up until this point, I came in second, which means that I was able to attend the final match and watch the decimation of my team. And I must admit, I could hardly have pulled a better team. I don't know if I could create better polls. I probably could, but it would be tricky. My polls were just dynamite. The first thing I saw come out of my booster was Regent, and as soon as I saw it, I wanted to play Regent at full value. And the only thing that prevented me from doing so is that I didn't pull a single prob in the entire rest of any of my packs, and I don't want to play a one-man army if I don't have prob. I did pull a Thoris, but of course Thoris only gets prob if somebody above 50 points has been KO'd and you push Thoris. And if somebody above 50 points have been KO'd and I was playing a region at full value, that means I'm losing badly. So in the end, I basically pulled my first booster, and it had Tony Stark, Inventor, Thoris, and Regent, and that was going to be my team until I pulled my second booster, which had Dynathor. It's hard to go wrong at that point because Dynathor is awesome, Regent is awesome, and I kind of figured what I would do is I also pulled a few other things, and what I came up with was get Regent at 100 points, have Thoris standing next to him for some enhancement, have Tony Stark Inventor standing on the other side for some perplex, and then have Dynathor as a hypersonic slingshot character get in there, get some damage done. Don't be overly conservative with Dynathor, because if he dies, then I can push Thoris onto the prob that I need so richly, so that Regent sees what Regent needs to see to make the attacks and try to take everybody out. And then you've got to round out the team. I had needed something else, and I pulled a World Breaker. which was exactly 50 points, which is what I needed, and I loved it because he was another character I could put out front. If he dies, it gives Thoris the opportunity for prob. If he doesn't die, he's a good damage dealer. So I kind of had a three-pronged attack. It's not a lot of sealed teams that you can play where you've got a close combat fighter, a range combat attacker, and a hypersonic character that can kind of go either way as the situation demands. Backed up with Perplex and Enhancement, it's about the best team you could hope to pull. And so that carried me. I mean, we've been making fun of like Jay, and I'm sure we will, as the person who attended the victory of Black Panther. But to be fair, I feel like I attended the second place performance of Dinosaur, Regent, World Breaker, Tony Stark Inventor, and Thoris, because that's a pretty dynamite team right there.
That's pretty good too.
Yeah. So I won't go into excruciating detail, partly because, like Mike, I don't remember all the details. I will go through my opponents, though. I faced a guy named Riley, a young man that had come down from Peterborough, and I don't exactly remember what he was playing. I know it was a She-Hulk and Jennifer Kale, as well as a couple other things. The big problem there was map. I outswung him considerably. And he won map, but hadn't brought any maps with him, so he kind of randomly chose one from my bag. And it was a fairly open map. I mean, Regent can see you no matter what map you're on, so to some extent, open isn't bad. But in this case, it was wide open. Regent could see without needing to choose any particular improved targeting, so he could just always choose hindering in case anyone found any, and just chew up the team from afar. Dinosaur swung in, got some damage done early, then proceeded to miss Jennifer Kale for the next half an hour. But it didn't matter. The rest of the team is being poked and taken out. I had too much swing, too much damage output. Even without prob, I would have to have been rolling really badly to not be able to press the advantage, and I wasn't rolling that badly. Second round, I took on, I don't remember who I took on. I know they were playing Black Panther and Red Wolf. But whoever it was.
You know what? Wasn't that the guy that ended up like winning the tournament or something?
I don't know. I can't remember. Yeah, no. Second round.
He was a jerk.
No, second round was against Jay, and it was a great match. I won map and went to Half World, which was only a half good choice because I always think that half of Half World is indoors because it looks like it, and it would have been better for me perhaps had it been so. But it wasn't ultimately a terrible choice because at least it provided few opportunities for Black Panther to be able to take a long swing at anyone other than Regent, and Jay wasn't being aggressive enough to put himself way out there to make the attack, considering I kept pumping up defenses. So I was able to get across the map close enough to start making some attacks. Jay and I had an early on interaction where both of our plans went amiss. Dinosaur came in like a bat out of Hades and fell on his face like a banana peel out of Hades when he crit missed on his hypersonic attack against Red Wolf. I was in position to be able to hit Red Wolf down far enough that I should have been able to finish him off with Regent and give Regent prob for the rest of the game, which is what I really wanted. Instead, Dinosaur managed to crit miss, damage himself, and become earthbound all in one fell swoop. And I couldn't follow up. So now Dinosaur was out there, and the only thing he had to protect him against the onslaught of Jay was Super Senses, and he needed that Super Senses to roll in a 6, and he sure got it.
Daniel Powelled me there.
Well, yeah, so I came out and failed hard, and then Jay turned it around with his own version of failing hard. And then to make a long story short, I kept trying to attack whenever I had the opportunity. I did ultimately take out Red Wolf. Jay kind of started picking my team apart, but was never able to get a good shot in on Regent. And ultimately, he did take out Dinosaur. He started whittling the rest of the team down. But I did manage to get Black Panther down as well, to the point where by the time they called last action, Black Panther was on his last click. And I was in another few minutes to try to take advantage of that. I mean, I may have lost before I had the chance. It was anyone's game to the very end, but it was a real back and forth nail biter of a match, and I thought it was a great match personally. We'll see what Jay has to say about it later, but I thought it was a real close game and a real fun one. And so I lost, as happens sometimes. I went into the third round against a Occasionally. I went into a third round against another young man named Ethan, or rather, another young man, and the name of this young man was Ethan, not another young man named Ethan. Oh boy, am I just babbling here like a babbling brook? He was playing a Thanos Prime and a variety of other things. Clara Prast and Alex. No, Clara Prast and Stick. Um, this was another one where just Regent's ability to see through everything and affected by two perplexes next to him, well, his own perplex and one perplex next to him, meant he could outswing the opposition. Got the early attack in on Thanos Prime, as did Dynathor. You get a couple shots in, and Thanos Prime is a lot less to worry about. And then I kept Dynathor up there to decrease his combat values and just hope to survive, and he did. So because he wasn't able to finish Dynathor off, he couldn't really go after Regent. Regent kept shooting. Eventually, I think I took out Clara first to get ESD in case he ever got a chance to shoot me back, and then pressed the advantage to finish off Thanos and then finish off Stick. It was a fairly short match, really defined by the fact that I just had so much swing. I mean, what do you do? He had a really solid team, but the early hits hurt. And then I went into round 4. That was against Patrick, who have already heard about what his team was, which Queen Lafayette, Ultimate Thor, and Alex Wilder. That was another real nail-biting grind fest. We had early on, we just became engaged, and we're going to get married next spring. No, we got he won map, took us to Wakanda. Regent doesn't particularly care about that, but for that matter, neither does Dynathor. He just has to get in close. But of course, I can't get in close to a plasticity figure like Morgan, so I figured my best odds were to cut the map in half, perplex down Morgan to make her less likely to be able to crush me. Regent is protected from her pulse wave anyway, so he's not so worried about that. And I clustered everyone around, so we didn't really have a good single target. Ultimate Thor came in and took out Thoris in no time. I was able to get a big hit off onto Morgan that knocked her to mid dial, made her a little less dangerous because she was off her awesome speed power, and then took the rest of the team to press the attack against Ultimate Thor. While that was happening, he was fighting me right back, and he took out most of my team. By the time it was all said and done, ultimately I did finish him off, but it was Dynathor standing alone. I think at that point. By that point, Alex was completely off the map, and I think everybody else was too. So it was another tight contest and a lot of back and forth fighting.
And now you're timing out.
Lay it out. Ah, there we go. I knew what happened sooner or later. Anyway, suffice to say, it was a decent match, and it was anyone's game, and I got the rules when I needed them. The hypersonic really helped because he had a really powerful team, but not a huge swing once Morgan was taken out a bit. So Regent died. It was one of the few matches where Regent was the sacrificial one because I knew the biggest advantage was hypersonic. Moving on, Nick Peterson was my fifth round opponent, and it's classic example of how a really, really good player can make the best of what I didn't think was a fantastic team. Like I thought that honestly, it's obviously no offense to Nick because it's based on what you pull, but I don't think his pulls were fantastic. I think Nick is fantastic. He wound up making top 8. And our match was a close one. He was able to corner Dynathor early and take him out while Regent was busy shooting the rest of his team through the blocking terrain of the underground cavern. And it was cool. It was a fun match. But ultimately, the dice went my way when they needed to, but it was a super tight game. I don't remember a ton of the details. I think I was in a bit of a fever dream at the time. But it was one of these things where I truly believe that his team was outmatched, but Nick is never really outmatched as a player. So, he's
Really good.
yes. So it's a good example of the how when we talk about HeroClix being about the pilot as much or more than being about the team, this was a classic example of that. Admittedly, I won the match, but only just barely, and I think that I was several degrees better as far as good pulls are concerned. Just a heck of a player. So Tim Hortons 4 got Tim Hortons, came back, went into the top 8. My first match was Nick Peterson again, and this was a repeat of our previous match, only this time his dice were poor, my dice were hot, and it was a bit more of a sure outcome. That being said, like he still cornered me, and I needed the rules when I got them, but like I said, my team was well suited to taking out his because it really massively outswung him, and it could shoot through terrain. I was able to win map and go into underground cavern, so I was always shooting through blocking but not destroying it. Regent is just a beast for that, and I was able to press the advantage. That brings us to the top 4, where I faced James McMaster or McAllister or McCaster or whatever I might call him earlier. And we've heard about what his team was. His team is scary. It's not often you see a team with that kind of swing. This was the only team, the only time of the whole tournament where I was really meaningfully outswung by my opponent. I mean, Black Panther did outswing me, but he's still only one piece. Whereas with James's team, he's got a Dinosaur to my Dinosaur, and he's got the awesomeness that is that Spider Iron Man with a huge swing that can outdo Regent. I was lucky enough to win map, which meant that he really had to extend to get a first attack against me, and he did, but he wasn't able to get Regent when he really needed to. He just missed the rolls when he needed them, and it allowed me to take Dinosaur out very early. He certainly returned the favor. He was able to take Regent out. He was able to start whittling my team down. I whittled down his Iron Man before my Regent died, and the rest of the team was able to finish the job. At one point, I got a miraculous roll. Thor, I outwitted invulnerability on Iron Man while he was hindering, forgetting about the fact that in addition to the hindering bonus, he was also getting +1 defense for every action token he had on him. So he was actually sitting at I don't know what he was sitting at. He was sitting at a high enough defense value, I think maybe 20, that I needed to roll an 11 to hit him. And I was like, well, I've already used the outwit and I've got an extra action. Might as well go for the 11. And I threw the dice down and it hit exactly 11. And that took out Iron Man. So, yeah, a little bit of good luck.
A little bit of good luck.
So, yeah. Am I back in?
You're back.
Okay, so I needed an 11. I rolled an 11. I took out Iron Man. This, after a few more exchanges, the end result was he was down to Viv Vision, mid-dial, and I had Dinosaur, top dial. These are both 90-point figures. But his team was 295 points. My team was 300, meaning he was ahead. But there is no way that Viv Vision wins a one-on-one, a mid-dial Viv Vision wins a one-on-one match with Dinosaur on his top dial unless she's super lucky. So James did the thing that you do in that situation, ladies and gentlemen. He ran away. And for the better part of about 10 minutes, he would run and I would chase. And I had the hypersonic. I was always able to catch him. But Viv kept cranking up her defenses, and she had the Super Sense roll out, and I had no problem or anything. So I missed most of the time, and he would run, and I would chase, and I would catch, and I would attack, and I would miss, and he would run. And this cycled for the better part of 10 minutes.
This cycle for the better part of 10 minutes.
Sorry, I'm back.
This cycle for the better part of 10 minutes.
Yep. I got him down to regen. He regened back up again to the point where he could continue running and I could continue missing. And this continued on and on and on until finally I knocked him down to regen. He didn't regen up more than one click. I connected with the second attack, and that finally ended the game. James, you could tell that like he was trying to crawl out of his own skin. I've never seen anyone actually do that before. Because he had to keep running away. What Mike said earlier, but it's very much against the way he likes to play. Then that's very much James too. I've played with James several times, and he was quick to say he doesn't like running. Look, none of us like running, but when that's the right move, that's the right move. There's no that's HeroClix for you, man. We had played a heck of a battle in which we both KO'd the better part of 200 points worth of people. At this point, he did the thing that he had to do, so he has nothing to feel bad about. When you got to run, you run. So anyway, in the end, it worked out in my favor. It brought me into the finals, in which I had a chance to
redeem yourself against Jay, I'm assuming is what you're saying.
I can tell the internet's not going to agree with me here, so I'll be brief.
I was going to say reopen the wound against Jay.
Yeah, that too. Well, I'll let Jay describe our match in more detail rather than fight the internet any longer. Suffice to say, it didn't go well for me. But I had a great time, and I'm glad we played, and I had a great time with the whole tournament. Thanks to Comic Books Addiction. Thanks to you all. I'm very happy with how it turned out, even if I didn't win. I don't need to win.
Awesome. And next, we're going to talk to the guy who ended up winning this tournament, the man himself, Black Panther. So, Black Panther, how did the all right, I'm sorry. This joke's gotten long enough. Jay, give us your story, buddy.
Oh, boy. I mean, I don't want to speak for the King of Wakanda, but I mean,
well, you need to.
We couldn't get him.
Voice. You're given.
I am not doing an impression of that. Oh, that would be really bad. Oh man. So this was like my 4th competitive tournament of the year. I'm pretty sure, unless I'm forgetting like a random sealed open. Oh no, it's not even true. I think I played this tournament. I played constructed open in Ottawa. Super Q in Michigan, a bunch of second places this year, and this is definitely my last competitive tournament of the year. So, because I'm working for WizKids in some capacity at Worlds, so apparently I managed to get the last minute win with a sealed tournament, which kind of feels half-assed, but what can you do? I was really lucky that I was
enjoy the victory. Gosh darn it!
I know, eh?
I know. No wonder we don't like it when he wins. Worst winner ever.
To be fair, you were rooting against me the whole time.
Because we have to listen to this. If you...
I'll get to that later. I was extremely lucky that I was running late that day because it ended up being that I got literally the last packs they handed out because I was the last person registered and whatnot, and they handed the boosters out in order of registration and whatnot. So I show up 5 minutes or 5 minutes before it starts. They hand me the boosters, whatever. We all could open the boosters. I pull the first booster, which I ended up using none of, obviously. It was... I wasn't completely defeated inside when I saw the figures, but it was kind of, this is going to be work. Because it was a bunch of Weird World figures with Archon as the bear. I was like, okay, what can you do? Let's open the next booster. Maybe I can salvage this. And then I'm pretty sure when I was opening the booster, the Black Panther was literally the last thing. And I was like, oh, that happened. That makes my life significantly easier. This is, because I feel like Black Panther is theoretically the second best thing you could possibly play. I feel like first is still Regent with some sort of prob, which isn't impossible. But that one-man army Regent would theoretically have just ruined me if Tom had managed to pull that prob. So I'd end up...
Alex Wilder, where were you?
Yeah, right?
No one would let you have prob with Alex Wilder.
Yeah, right. So I ended up playing... I ended up pulling the Black Panther, or picking the Black Panther, obviously, and then it was just a matter of what to fill in the points with. There was no theme option. And I figured that due to the power set of only having the prob on the one click, and theoretically I want power sets on other clicks, I went with the Red Wolf for the prob, as well as the fact that he can essentially eat a damage. So if you don't have penetrating damage and you want to damage Black Panther, you got to hit him for 4. There is penetrating in the set, but still. And then the maps I ended up doing were Wakanda, WizKids Office, and Star Trek Underground, and I rolled map roll literally once the whole day out of 8 games against no other teams. So crazy math there. Round 1 was against Ethan, who Tom had mentioned, who was running the Prime Thanos stick, Carolina Dean. He picked the map, the Batman the Animated Series, like shipping yard map with all the orange enduring terrain and whatnot. So basically, my game plan every game is pretty much just move up a little bit, enough to get the strike after I've cleared, while also not letting them get to me. So basically, just move up a little. He moves up a little. I go in with 2 probs in my favor with his Thanos prob against me, I think, to hit Thanos. And it's worth knowing that he didn't have any duplicates. So Thanos' prob didn't matter as far as generating those go. So I ended up not using these dice after this game for the rest of the day, but basically there was a lot of times when I needed both my probs to hit reasonable attack rolls. So it ended up being he had, I don't even think he killed Red Wolf. I think Red Wolf actually killed Thanos at the end with his exploit weakness, funnily enough. And we go into round 2 against Tom. He already went over that game. But basically, that Super Senses on a 6 was pretty clutch, especially because if I had hit Dino Thor, he would have lost the awesome minus values special power. And so, go a little bit of back and forth. I ended up going for Playing a little bit more conservatively because the team is essentially don't die tech. I just need to score more than 50 and not lose Black Panther. So I ended up going for Tony Stark first, and then essentially Dino Thor. And I can't remember if Thor was alive at the end. But it didn't end up being that the Pogs that Black Panther generated mattered a lot. Just between the incapacity and just picking up light objects to do damage, and also Dino Thor never has a reducer. And I'm pretty sure that their Battle Fury mattered to ignore the shape change he had on his end dial. So, I mean, Tom can correct me if I'm saying anything incorrect here.
This all sounds, this all checks out.
Yeah, so if you had about literally one more minute and I don't roll a 6 on Super Senses, you just win that game? Especially because it's probably 11 on an 18, I believe, at the end there. So that was easily your game. It was just a matter of there was a couple rules questions that took a little bit too long, like when you wanted to use Regent to destroy blocking, even though it was an outdoor map and all that stuff. Which, after double checking, I'm pretty sure it does work in your favor there. And then some other weird one. I can't remember what it was. But if you had a bit more time, you would have definitely handed me a loss there. Then we have Patrick with again the Ultimate Thor, Alex Wilder, Witch Queen LeFay. He wins map, puts us on Wakanda, which I'm okay with because it's thematic, and why not? It's on my sheet anyway. So I just sit in my starting area. I let him creep up because his swing is very much superior to mine because I think Witch Queen and Black Panther have the same speed, but she has sidestep plus perplex. So I basically sit there and just let him creep up enough to where I can go for the attack. So I think I end up hypersonicking in to attempt to hit Alex. Yeah, because Alex couldn't mastermind to Thor. So if you wanted to mastermind to Morgan, that was okay too. So I think I end up missing the attack or something, and then I go to base Morgan because I know I can pick poison and start poisoning her through the mastermind. He misses a bunch of stuff. Like, he misses breakaway rolls that he needs anything but a 1-on. He ends up missing and losing the Morgan Le Fay power. And this game really did go to time because, unfortunately, the thing with Witch Queen Le Fay is that there's so much decision making because she just has so many powers. Like, when you have the option of running shot, pulse wave, charge flurry, or hypersonic, those are not easy decisions to make. I end up killing the Alex Wilder early, which is pretty useful just to get the extra support powers. I don't think he ever lets me have Outwit because that would just ruin Witch Queen Le Fay. So it ends up being that I killed the Alex, he scored it back, I kill Ultimate Thor, I think he kills Red Wolf, and then it's down to a barely alive Witch Queen? No, it was the reverse. I killed Witch Queen. Ultimate Thor is still. Am I boring you?
Sorry, y'all. I expected it was gonna be.
Yeah. So if that game had gone on a little bit longer, I was losing, I think, because it was 75-25, and then I killed Witch Queen. So yeah, it was not easy. I was not hitting the dice rolls all of the time, despite my 2 probs and having the presumably should be hitting reasonably okay gravity dice. So that was a little bit too close for comfort. Then round 4, is that round 4? Yeah, it was against Cecil with Spider Island, Spider-Man, 100-point Maestro, Bushmaster, Iron Fist. He puts us on the new Regent Lab map, which is a little bit of blocking, kind of open-ish. I move behind a section of wall where I think if he had used all his perplex on movement, Bushmaster can go for it. I'm kind of okay with it. And I think he does and just misses. I kill Bushmaster. He kills Red Wolf somehow. I start pinging stuff because he has a lot of super senses like Precision Strike. I end up camping behind on this. There's a little patch of elevated that he bases me with his characters that reducer so I can pick poison. And then it ends up being Maestro with his pretty decent numbers versus Black Panther, and I ended up just killing him. And then the last round of Swiss was against James with the aforementioned Spider Island, Spider-Man, Viv Vision, Dino Thor. Lots of pretty decent numbers there, lots of good move and attack. Prob is always good. And I'm kind of okay with hitting Iron Man onto Outwit because it doesn't matter at all. So basically, did he put us on? He put us on WizKid's Office, I think. No, that was the only game I won map roll. I put us on the Office because he had hypersonic, but so did I. So it kind of balanced each other out. I move up to let's say I move up 5 squares behind the area, the wall near all the cubicles and whatever, like 6 squares up or whatever. He moves up a little. I clear. He clears. I end up moving Red Wolf for the prob, doing the hypersonic with Black Panther onto Dino Thor. Because at this point, I did know that he would lose the special power, which is pretty important because those -1s are pretty killer when you have an OMA or a one-man army. So Dino Thor does not get the 6 on super senses. He's earthbound, and I wasn't basing him. He's on phasing. He really can't do anything. I think Iron Man maybe gets an attack. I ended up on my second to last click at the end of the game. Vision was really hard to hit at a lot of times. I'm just trying to remember. It ended up being Black Panther versus Iron Man at the end. Iron Man rolled like 2 crit misses, and I actually managed to get some attacks off with the zombie warriors, which was insane. But overall, I was really worried about that Vision defense number, which came up again against Mike. Dino Thor's also always a threat, and Iron Man having Psychic Blast mattered, especially because he ignores hindering, so I couldn't get like a really high hard to hit 19. It ended up being like 10s on 18s with prob either way, so it was hittable, and he did end up hitting me a bunch of times. We go to top 8 after the aforementioned mandatory Tim Hortons break, and I'm against bottom seed because I went undefeated. Matthew Ryan with the team that I literally do not know how anybody could pilot to top 8. He has
the true hero of the day, by the way, just to savor this.
This felt. The first game against Tom was the actual closest game, but I feel like this felt like the closest game of the day.
The team of the people.
It was Spider-Man with the black suit, Spider-Man from Spider Island, Tony Stark Inventor, Bullseye, Molly Hayes, Nico, Minoru. He picks Wakanda. Yeah, he picks Wakanda. Basically, I move up a little bit behind the section of blocking, and I put Red Wolf in front of me so he can't get any attacks off on me, and then I get to make some attacks. So I end up going for the only points that I can, the only points I can one-shot, which is the Tony Stark Inventor. I position myself in an area where I do have Red Wolf next to me to eat the damage or whatever. He ends up having his Bullseye with a 14 attack because he gets +2 attack if he's shooting through hindered line of fire, plus Spider-Man Perplex. So he ends up being a 6. Probs either way. It's really whatever. It barely matters what the numbers are. They're very low. I don't roll the 6 on super senses. And the problem with him pinging me for exactly 1 is that I go to 18 reflexes, which is then results in him following up with a shot with Spider-Man needing like a 9. I don't remember how many probs there were for or against, but he ends up hitting me from click 2, 1, 2, 3 to the Mind Control, Psychic Blast, Energy Shield, Shape Change click, which is click 5. So I'm in a bad spot. I had, at this point, I think I had Bullseye, because I couldn't one-shot anything really, so I think I hit Bullseye to his last click, and then I hit him off of it again, so I'm ahead on points. He kills Red Wolf somehow. I kill the Spider Island Spider-Man, I feel like. And then basically it comes down to the Black Suit Spider-Man, Molly, and Nico versus my Black Panther, who's on his last section of clicks. I have to basically keep on incapping Molly Hayes, so she always has a token. She can't do anything. Nico can't really damage me, but she's still there for props. I end up taking her out because that matters a lot. I had one turn where I hit just a bunch of 9s that I really, really needed just to get stuff going, to get damage and get the incaps and whatnot, and to Black Panther attacks and whatnot. So it ends up being Time is Cold, I believe. And it's my Black Panther, I think, on the second to last stop, the second stop click, so second last total click, versus like the Black Suit Spider-Man and Molly, who's still alive because she's impossible to kill in the set with 5 clicks toughness. So, but he played the hell out of that team to get there in the beginning and just in general.
Yeah, man.
And then Mike was there rooting for Matt, and Tom was there rooting for Matt.
Go, Matt, go.
It was a
Not
good time.
Jay. Not Jay.
Now remember, Jay, they're not rooting against you. They're rooting against the Black Panther. The problem being that you're piloting the Black Panther.
No.
I wouldn't even call it.
I was rooting against Jay.
Okay, sorry. I tried to make it look good. You're screwed, Jay.
I think you were actually being a bit generous. I wouldn't even call it piloting Black Panther. I would call it being there. When I was messaging people, I said Black Panther won the Open, and I happened to be there, I think.
I just was incredibly impressed by how well Matt played that team. I mean, again, I feel like a broken record on this episode talking about how the pilot is more important than the team, and we've made a lot of fun of the
it's not hurting my feelings at all that you keep saying that, Tom.
Well, the funny part about the funny thing is we kept making fun of Jay as though Black Panther won the tournament, but all jokes aside, Black Panther didn't win the tournament. I've seen lots of people take pieces that should be auto win and completely misplay them. You got to play well, and your descriptions are summing it up. Anyway, I don't want to interrupt your story. I'm just saying we make fun, but it's not really true.
Yeah. So the thing, since you brought it up, the thing with Black Panther is that he can't one-shot most of the set, so you do have to be pretty conservative with him. And there is enough Psychic Blast in the set as to cause some concern along with Super Strength, Morgan Le Fay. Even without Pulse Wave, just the Charge Flurry, whatever, is a thing. I don't really want to say any of my games were easy, except for maybe against Cecil, but that team was just, he played it as well as he can, but that team was just a mishmash of random stuff. His super wasn't even good, but basically, it's harder to pilot than it looks, I think.
Ouch.
Which sounds like trying to make an excuse, but yeah, 4 damage is not one shot the vast majority of this set. So yeah, we go to the game against Mike. You picked The Office because we talked about it. I don't think there was a better decision as far as what was on your maps. So yeah, what happened? I moved it up to that same little patch of blocking so I could get the hypersonic but be protected. You shot Red Wolf. Red Wolf manages to exploit Molly because the push doesn't kill him, and also because he dies anyway for sure. You need 5s, so it was really why the hell not. I kill Outrider. I hypersonic in and simultaneously go for Outrider with Alex as a backup because I one-shot either of them, and then I have the Precision Strike and whatnot. So I do kill Outrider. And then Viv, I somehow pinged and then Pulse Wave for 4, which I actually didn't have prob on it. I just needed the 7s, I think.
Yeah.
So I kill her, and then the rest of the squad spends the rest of the game just blowing up balls, trying to pick random shots. The 12 phasing was specifically somehow coincidentally good on that map because I could go from one corner to another intersection of the blocking to another side. It just works out perfectly on that map somehow. That was painful. I feel like that was at least half the match.
It was. Oh, it absolutely was. It was like a good 20, 25
Yeah,
minutes.
it was difficult because I didn't want to make attacks because I don't want to give Ultimate Thor tokens to just because I think he got 1 token the whole game.
That was it. I only had the 1 evidence token on him. And I kept hoping that would be a thing, that you at some point would get frustrated and be like, I'm going to make an attack on somebody, and I get a second one on him, because then I could move him within range and make that attack.
That game looks very different if it's not saying elimination, that is for sure.
Yeah.
Because I basically have to go for the runaways and I don't know, and then Thor can do stuff. But yeah, I don't think you really misplayed anything at all. It's just that wasn't a good matchup when I have all the move and attack and hypersonic versus no hypersonic is a thing.
Yeah, I accepted that I would lose some of the lower point pieces. I really didn't think Viv was going to go down when she did. That was really what it was, is that she got that first hit on her. She was super weak, and there was nothing I could do. And it was on a turn where she had made an attack and I missed. So I didn't.
I had to pulse wave her because I had the defense modifier that turn.
No, I didn't have the defense modifier. The first time you hit her, I didn't have the defense modifier.
Oh, the first, No, the first time she did, I think.
And that was it. And then I was naked with the 16 defense regen. There's nothing you could do. But it was a good game. You played it well.
It was not fun. I kept on begging Ryan to just end the time already because we both knew what was going to happen. It was just a matter of sitting through it.
I was hoping for a war of attrition. That you'd have a moment of like, I can't take this. I'm gonna hypersonic in.
Oh
and I'm gonna
no,
attack.
I've played way too few
You're gonna
tournaments
crit-
this year. Not be
Yeah.
patient. My second game against Tom was just not as eventful because he just could not roll a single thing at all.
Hey, I rolled a crit miss.
You did get to
You
roll
rolled
dice. You did roll dice, but yeah, just literally nothing worked out. I've never actually seen you concede a game before. It was weird.
Well, it wasn't concede like as in, rage quit. It was just
No, it
accept
was
that there
you were
was
down to Thoris
accept the
and
outcome.
and I'm pretty sure. No, I took like one click. I think.
Yeah.
It was over.
No, I don't think you'd taken any damage. Or maybe
No,
you
I did.
Okay.
I was on click 2 at one point for some reason, but basically,
It was over.
we basically ended up agreeing that I had no reason to move out of my starting area until you moved up more.
Yeah.
And then I go for the Dino Thor again. You don't get the super senses. He's Earthbound, can't do anything. It's funny because he has phasing, except that Earthbound now shuts down phasing, basically. So why does he have it? Who knows? And then
Always have Earthbound. He has to get hit to get Earthbound.
right, but you get hit. You hit phasing. It's like, oh, well, this is.
It's what's called a downside, Jay.
I don't disagree with you. It's a great figure. It just is weird in execution where you get hit and you can't use the power that's on your dial. But yeah, that happened, and I won an event surprisingly, and I don't know if I can use the qualification depending on how Nationals plays out this year, but it was good, a good time.
To whoever runs Canadian Nationals next year, Jay is not allowed to judge.
I did a terrible job.
There. Now you're using your qualification.
There you go.
But yeah, it was a great time. CBA is an amazing store, and I didn't actually want the Black Panther, and I managed to trade it to Tom for a figure I actually wanted. So
Sweet.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, man.
Getting to play Tom in the finals is its own reward, regardless of what happens.
I agree.
Tom at this point is so used to being in the finals that there's one game where Tom had actually lost, and it was recorded.
Right.
Yeah, our game. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, but overall, great old time at Comic Book Addiction. Sorry, they always run a fantastic event. I love the new venue. It's a little bit more spacious than the previous venue, and I'm glad that we don't have to go to a different location, and they're able to capitalize on us being able to buy things while we're there. So Jane, Ryan, thank you very much for running a fantastic event. And let's get to the meat and potatoes of what we want to talk about, because Worlds is like travel is 24 days away or something like that. It's coming up. Like, I know I'm traveling on the Thursday of, and yeah, travel is 24 days away, the 29th of November. So it's time to get in that mindset. And Tom brought up a very good point, and we often dodge this question because we sometimes early on it's hard to really read a set, and very frequently it's a matter of what Tom wants us to discuss, or suggests that we discuss, what figures we expect to see at Worlds coming from the Secret Wars Battle World set. And for any number of reasons, like there could be more smaller end figures in the set that could support a certain number of strategies, which could lead to other things. So we're just going to share what we think is going to appear in the set. Now, Tom, I'm sure you have your thoughts going into this, given that this is your topic.
I guess so. I mean, not really. I was actually interested to see what you guys had to say. I will start off by throwing out Sheriff Strange, because I think that it's a piece that's on a lot of people's lips at the moment.
Yep.
I think that the benefits of Sheriff Strange are perhaps, some of them are obvious, some not as much. I think that at 100 points, with the extra specs not out yet, it's not quite worth the investment of the extra 50 points. I think once extra specs becomes a thing, then the ability to potentially take objects away from your opponent will become more meaningful than ever.
And leading into this, before we get too much in there, Tom, I just want to jump on there and say, officially, extra specs aren't legal until December 7th, which means that would be 4 days after World Championships.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So that's why I figure that at 100 points, it's a hard sell. But at 50 points, I don't think it's a hard sell at all. The double power action against is the thing that first makes you perk up, I think, when you hear about Sheriff Strange.
Yep.
And that's cool. I don't think that that's going to be game breaking, but it's nice and tempo disruptive. What makes Sheriff Strange cool, in my opinion, is the fact that he's pretty well defended, and brings more than meets the eye. Between that, leadership perplex is just so valuable. With an 18 defense that he's sitting on all the time, if he's modifying it up to a 19, he's not easy to take out. He's got a stop click to make him that much harder to take out. The Mystics team ability is a bit of a mixed bag these days, since it invites retaliation. And if you're playing him, you have to play him carefully enough to make sure that you're not putting him in a position to get pot-shotted, give a feedback damage, and then have Mangog come and wreck your team. But if you're up against a Mangog, then make sure that Sheriff Strange is going to go off on his own. So don't build a team that requires Sheriff Strange standing next to the rest of your team, or else you're begging to lose certain matches. But I do think that we will see him. The other reason I wanted to bring this up was not only what do we think we'll see, but how do we think we'll see it. And I think we'll see Sheriff Strange call-in battery. I think he has survivability enough if he's devoting himself to keeping his defenses up and have a stop click to get out there, stay away from the team where he needs to make sure that if his Mystics invites any retaliation, that it's only him taking it. The Mystics will also likely take out the Retaliator in the process, and if he's not had to stop click yet, then that Retaliator's dead and he's not. And other than that, he can call people in, he can perplex them up. He's got the leadership to make sure that those call-ins aren't going to hurt his action total too much. He's got some decent keywords. And I think that he will disrupt tempo with the double power action thing on ID cards. I just think that he's a better piece all in all than you put together. And let's not forget about the fact that when he hits that stop click, if he hits that stop click, he still has the ability to remove equipment, and that will potentially take some people by surprise. So it's not so much that I expect to see a lot of him, it's that when I do see him, that's how I think we'll see him. Mm-hmm. That was kind of the idea. Well, how do we think we'll see the pieces when we see them? I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
Oh, Tom's passing the buck now.
Wow.
Hey, might as well.
Well, not to mire us down, because there's a lot of figures in this set, and I could probably talk about all of them, and nobody wants that. And I don't think it's a big surprise that I would mention Witch Queen LeFay. I think you have to know that somebody is going to play this figure. There's way too much going on in this figure not to. First and foremost the Baron and Baronesses of Battle World traits are great. We saw enough of it with the X-Men Headmaster traits with having leadership and perplex. Everybody loves an extra action. Everybody loves perplex. And then, of course, the fact that if you're sharing a Battle World keyword, it could be a +2. Battle World Weird Worlds, it may not be like the greatest keyword ever, and there's like tons of variety there, but we know that all the characters that have that trait all have the unnamed, or all have that keyword, have the Untamed Weirdness trait. And that Untamed Weirdness trait is also huge. Yeah. The whole opposing character's combat values except range can't be modified when attacking Witch Queen LeFay, or being attacked by her. That's massive. There are ways around it. It's not saying that she can't be perplexed. Yeah. So you can decrease her values and affect her that way. But not being able to boost up your damage to make a big hit on her, not being able to increase your attack to get around maybe hindering terrain, like if she's on Wakanda and stuff like that, and vice versa. When she's attacking you on Wakanda, you don't get the +2 to the defense. So if you don't have stealth, she doesn't even care about that map. She's essentially ignoring hindering terrain unless you have stealth. So that alone, I think, makes her a fantastic figure. On top of that, we all know about this special power. It's not your Mystic Dragon Archon. On her movement, the really important part about this power, and I think enough people know this by now, is that you can use all standard speed powers, except for Earthbound, Neutralize, and Stealth. You don't have to pick them. You have them. You have access to them. The huge part to that, obviously, first and foremost, is you have none of the negatives from someone like Darwin. You're not picking powers. You're not choosing powers. You have them. You just use them. Also, on top of that is there's like a passive benefit to that all the time. Like, she always has plasticity. You don't have to declare it. don't have to anything. I go to roll to break away. I have plasticity. I break away on everything but a 1. You know, I stop people coming after. That is huge. I don't think people really realize that those things are constantly active. They're constantly going on. You know, people go to hypersonic in on them. She doesn't have to declare anything. It's just, it's active. It's happening. And both. Sorry, go ahead, Tom.
I was going to say she can also do things you don't expect, like the whole leap, climb, attack with their elevation shtick, and like things
Absolutely.
you forget about. You know?
Yeah, all this stuff that's always active on her is huge, man. Like, there's so much potential to that, and smart players are really going to use her. I know Tom's mentioned it a bunch of times, and I kind of agree with it too. I'm not a fan of tentpole teams. I think that there is no other way to play her but on a team that seems like a tentpole. However, one of the wonderful things, the figure Tom just mentioned, the lovely 50-point Sheriff Strange, has mystical, and Witch Queen LeFay has mystical. That's only 200 of your 300 points. I mean, that's 2/3 of your points. But by that point, you're really only filling in afterwards. And right off the top of my head, I could throw Nico Minoru on there at 40 points for the TK and prob, and then throw on a Tri-Sentinel at 30 points. That's 270 points, still leaving me another 30 points for maybe a special object, maybe ID cards.
Lots of IDs.
Lots of IDs you could do. She's a 150-point character, so she can call in lots of beasts. You've got Sheriff Strange to call in all the juicy 50-point ones that we already know about, Cyclops and all of that. And, hey, if you really want to be that crazy, you could maybe throw some exospecs on her, too.
Not at Worlds.
Not at Worlds, but down the line, now she's also can pick from attack powers to go with all those movement powers. Or when she loses that movement power, well, now she can still pick movement powers. So even better yet, you give her the exospecs. Now she can actually pick stealth, which is the one power that she doesn't get to use. So now she has every movement power that you could think of. So I think we're definitely going to see a Witch Queen LeFay there. I would be stunned if we didn't. I think we're going to see her, what in essence will be a tentpole team. Right? That's half your points, all in the one figure. So theoretically, it's a tentpole team. But I definitely think we're going to have to see her, because with mystical and ruler keyword, Groot, maybe 2 Groots, there's some great mastermind fodder for her. I think it's a given that somebody's got to play this figure, and I think she'll, in the right hand, she can go really far.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jay, what do you think?
If we're only going with one figure,
for now, I have a plan.
Oh.
I am very okay with hyping up Alex Wilder, obviously from the main set, considering the sheer amount of stuff he can do. I mean, good keywords also. I don't know why he has mystical, but he has it, and I wouldn't say there's a mystical renaissance happening right now, but there's enough mystical where it seems like something you can play around with. Scientist, you never know. Runaways and Master Evil are never going to happen. But also theme is not necessarily. There's a certain number of keywords that get played, but other than that, I mean, all the SamCap teams are free for all of whoever, so definitely has room there. And we're already playing Ironheart for 1 support power at a time. But 2, I mean, even with your opponent picking, I mean, there's also always the opportunity for your opponent to pick the wrong thing, or for your opponent to pick what they think is the wrong thing, but something that you could still play around with. He's not the easiest to kill either. I mean, because he has Mastermind if you have shared keyword stuff. 4 clicks is not bad for 25. Traded Shape Change and Stealth. Well, the fact that I actually have been considering him for Don't Die Tech, because his dying doesn't actually matter as far as scoring goes if you can get him back. So he's kind of like a no-cost point investment there. So he's just...
Yeah, because a lot of the times when he dies, he's by your guys. You're not putting him out there on his own. He's closer to your team. He dies. Well, now all of a sudden...
Yeah, nothing he does requires being...
One of your opponent's guys right next to you, you just kill him again right away.
Yeah, there's definitely game plans you can do, like perplex up a Banshee, 4 damage pulse wave him. There's lots of stuff you can do to just immediately score him back after. So he's total net even for you and your opponent. But yeah, I mean, just the sheer amount of utility you can get off of him. And also the fact that, oh no, I used Perplex and Prob already because you didn't give me Outwit. I'm going to push to Outwit. Seems good. Mm-hmm. And also just I feel like the 4 clicks will just kind of trip people out because I would not expect a 25-point figure to have more than 3. And also randomly calling in Rusty for the poison just seems hilarious. So overall, he's so cheap. He does so much. I'd be surprised if he didn't see a bunch of play.
What about you, Jason?
Well, I have 2 choices, but I think one of them will depend upon the results of a pending wrestling match in the hotel room at Worlds. So I'm going to hold off on that one for now.
I think it segues into my second part of this question anyway.
Okay, cool. So then I'll hold on to that one for now. And I've got the weird pick on this one, I think. And it's the Chase Iron Fist. For a number of reasons. One of which is she's very functional in our already existing, like, run up with a bubble of dudes, carry 1,000 character strategies. So, like, if you can get yourself an Overdrive or a Green Lantern, you drag all the team there. Well, in addition to adding to the crowd that's in front of your opponent's team, if they have characters on the outside that want to make range attacks, well, her trait says no. Trait or movement power? I can't remember which one it is. No, it's her movement power. Sorry.
Movement,
so
yeah.
Yeah, if she's adjacent to an opposing character, opposing characters can't shoot her. She's already got an 18 defense with super sense as well, so she's kind of sticking in there. In addition to which, we're all worried about combat reflexes when it comes to base-to-base contact. Well, she doesn't because she doesn't let them use it. And she's also not threatened by precision strike or close combat expert. You know, and this is a character who just, you drag her in and you can wait a turn, and she's generally pretty safe to a lot of the things that a character like that would be weak to. Now, a lot of these strategies, of course, already use the SAM cap, so this is just kind of, she's not necessarily like the thing that makes it, but I think you're going to see her as a part of a strategy that already exists, replacing another part of it, functioning slightly different, but a little bit more safe, if that makes kind of the sense of my matter. It's... Mike, I know your idea was good, but I'm going in a different direction with it.
No, it's all good. But I'm glad you're thinking about her.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad you're thinking about her. That's
why
I sent you that
now,
message.
So...
There you go. Funnily enough, I sent you a team with 2, and now you have 2. I made that happen for you, man.
Yeah. Thanks to that Battle Royale.
Super good.
All right, Tom, what was the next part of this activity?
Well, the next part was really, because we're basically talking about a lot of the things that people have been talking about. I thought it would be kind of fun to kind of turn on its ear and to say, of the things that no one is talking about, what do you kind of wish somebody would make work, or what do you think perhaps people are just overlooking, and why? If just, I don't know, just pick something. I would think we can start with you, Jason, because I think I already know where you're going with it.
You know where I'm going with this, because not only you, but everybody I've shown the initial version of this team has fought me on this character. And the next person who fights me on Molly Hayes is going down. Because she's 25 points, and she's part of the same team I just talked about. And she's a small portion of it. And your opponent has... you have to devote 6 damage if you're not penetrating in order to kill Molly Hayes. That is way too much to be directing at a 25-point character. And then, in addition to which, as part of this bubble team, you kind of put her in a safe area to the back, and then sidestep the next turn, picking up an object along the way, say, or just using the Empower or Perplex that you're already getting from this team, and you're doing like 5 to 6 damage with a 25-point character. And this is not something to be sleeping on. This is a character who bears thought outside of the sealed realm. She owns the sealed. She kills Thanos. Like, I've seen Molly Hayes with Thanos blood on their hands. So, like, do not sleep on this character when it comes to even to constructive play, because a small part of a bigger whole could be doing a lot more damage than you could possibly expect. And that's why I say Molly Hayes is kind of that dark horse that I don't think enough people are considering, because she's also stealthy if she's in your opponents, right? And this team that we're this bring them forward, carry guys teams, put her in stealth and hindering along the way, and she's safe. Kind of like, well,
she's stealthy. She's stealthy. Period. The sidestep is conditional.
Oh, there we go. So even
better.
Yeah. She's a good stealth shield before you get moving, or if you need to go kind of take a pit stop.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's there will be wrestling matches for me to find a way to get Molly Hayes into a team. I'm sure of it. It will be akin to Mike's late night last minute changes, and it's gonna be everybody trying to stop me from using the cute little girl that looks like my daughter.
I don't think it's a bad call. I mean, I'm not saying that I think there are other uses of 25 points, but I think that she's a good dark horse pick.
Yeah. All right. Who are we passing it to next?
I mean, I have a related one.
All right,
and if
Jay,
we're going
go.
reverse
Go-
order, it
go
works
for it.
out. I'm
Yeah,
glad
go
you
for
said that because when this figure was previewed, I was kind of blown away at how insane the utility, or because the damage output, the utility, all the stuff you can get out of it is. The new Gertrude in Old Lace is an autonomous flurry blades pog with 18 reflexes for 30 points.
Wow.
When I saw this preview, I was pretty sure that I was seeing half of the cost. I was pretty sure this is a misprint. This is a 60-point figure for 30 points. On top of that, has the stealth, super sensitive is good, has sidestep if opposing characters within 4, all that good stuff, as well as the special power that gives leadership and runaways get ignores characters. So essentially, if your opponent's close enough, you can sidestep and then use the power to generate Old Lace, which could be up to 4 away within hindering. So you can sidestep and have a total swing of 6 to call in an autonomous flurry blades 18 reflexes. 30 points. And has an animal keyword to theme with random good stuff like King Shark and Lockjaw.
Yeah, the 18 reflexes, man. That Old Lace is not messing around.
No. It was funny because the old Gurton Old Lace were kind of hampered by how Incapacitate kills the dinosaur, and then they made this version, which is like half the cost and doesn't worry about any of that shit. So, sorry. That stuff were clean. But yeah, the point formula, what is it?
Real good.
Yeah, I like her a lot too, especially because of that whole giving runaways improved movement characters. Because that mixed with the trait, it's golden, right? They've all got stealth, so they're hiding. You get close to them. No, I'm just gonna walk away over here because I've got sidestep and I ignore characters. Huge for repositioning possibilities. Yeah, I love that figure.
Who's your dark horse there, Mike?
Well, I think it's a very much dark horse, but it connects to Mr. Collins and the whole discussion we had about Iron Fist, and specifically I had sent him a team with 2 Iron Fists on it and a Rennet Tilly who could carry them in because, you know, it's that kind of thing. Well, they all share a keyword past, which also goes to that Tri-Sentinel that you and I love so much. Well, the person I threw in there that's my dark horse is Sheriff Steve Rogers.
Nice.
I think the 50 points makes him a little, you know, this is why he's very much a dark horse. But I think PD ability, leadership, which we all love taking tokens off of people and having extra actions are great. Mixed in with the amazing added part to his special damage power, no one is above the law. When Sheriff Steve Rogers or an adjacent friendly character is attacked, that attacker cannot positively modify or replace their attack value. I think that can be very well. Guys, you're all frozen, which means I'm frozen.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Heck now, I'm learning this trick. So yeah, the idea is Rennet Tilly carries him and 2 Iron Fists together, and they all stay together. Well, you can't shoot if you're not adjacent to them, so now you got to get next to them. You can't modify your attacks positively. You can't use close combat expert. You can't use like the idea is obviously. So I really love the and right things to keep him protected in the middle to make everybody around him safer. Again, I know that those 50 points make it a little tough, but hey, if you're carrying him along and all he's doing is standing there using leadership and stuff, maybe he could do a little call-in for you of a Wolverine or a Cyclops, you know, 50 points. It's useful. So that would be my dark horse, very dark horse pick for the set.
All right. Tom.
Well, I probably have the darkest of the dark horses because I don't think anyone has even looked twice at this figure, unless I'm wrong. And maybe you guys have said wonderful things on it when I haven't been around, and I hope you have. But I would like to take a minute to talk about Big Boss Hill.
Nobody has said anything nice about Big Boss Hill.
Well,
ever.
I think they're wrong, and here's why I think they're wrong. Because when I look at an indomitable sidestepping taxi with the PD team ability, leadership, and perplex, who's protected by invincible and is enough points to call in virtually every really useful thing. Like she's ahead of that 60-point curve that allows you to call in your Jean Greys and your Icemans and stuff like that, in addition to your Wolverines and your Cyclopses. You take all of that. You protect it with an 18 invincible, which is just awesome. You make her a particularly attractive call-in battery because of the PD and perplex that she can use to crank people up when she calls them in. And then you make it such that if anybody damages another member of the team, she suddenly becomes a 13-swing hypersonic. Well, I guess not 13 because you get Battle Fury. Sorry, a 10-swing hyper. No, she's still a sidestep. 12-swing hypersonic Battle Fury character that's cranking out 4 damage for 11 with 11 attack, and like she can take a hit and she's dealing damage down her whole dial. I know that like Molly Hayes may have the pure efficiency vote here, but when it comes to I think versatility, I think a lot of people are looking past the fact that Big Boss Hill does a lot of stuff for 65 points. She doesn't look like a terribly impressive figure. I think when I look at her at first, I thought that's not that good for 95 points. But I think for 65 points, she's got that ruler keyword, which goes a long way these days. I think police keyword has potential, especially considering I really want to see more Grey Ghost. In a world full of Staros, Grey Ghost is a wonderful thing. In a world full of Groots, Grey Ghost is a wonderful thing. I know it's 40 points, but hey, the point is it's police. And even when you set that aside, Asgardian has its potential, particularly with a ton of good retaliators with that. And even Battle World Other is a good one with Prime Thanos and other things. The point is, she's got a lot of stuff. And I don't think that she's doing any one thing that makes anybody get excited. And I think largely because of that fact that nobody's really talking about her. But I think she's got a lot more potential than anyone thinks. It's just I'm such a sucker for an 18 invincible on a 65-point character who is just so well suited to calling out some heavy hitters. So no, I don't think that she's going to win Worlds, but I think that she's better than anyone's giving her credit for. And I love to bring a figure on my team where somebody says, "Oh God, I didn't even think I would face that." Oh well, 5 damage should do it, right? Or I love it when that happens.
I do have to interject with one small detail that she's actually not 65 and HC Realms has her wrong.
It's
Oh no,
points.
It's 85.
Oh, okay. Well, I take it back then.
Big Boss. Not only that, but she's also a part-time Baroness. She forgets that she's a Baroness halfway through her dial.
Redacted. Redacted.
All right, it's actually true. That 20 points is pretty relevant, and I was going on the Realms thing. So okay, take back everything I said. I still don't think she's a bad piece, but at 85 points, she's about where she should be.
I was gonna say, is she really 65 points? I swear I remember complaining about her being 85.
I literally built with her for a casual build, showed it to my friend. He's like, "I'm sorry, bud. It's actually 85." I'm like, "Damn it."
You're really good, wasn't it?
I built with her too because she was 65.
There's been a few typos in HC Realms.
Oh, that's too bad.
I mean, Michelangelo is 0 points according to this. So.
Well, they also still don't even
much for that. Yeah.
They still don't even have up the rare Captain America.
Nope.
The one with the past keyword. Yeah, number 33 of the set. It's still not there.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is that they like to have stuff in hand and then or get a picture that's very clear. It's not always easy to get.
Well, I'll mail it to them. I'll send
the
them one
other
of mine.
problem is that
They can keep mine.
People that can there are people that can upload to units, but there's less that can edit. Like you have to be like a super admin or whatever to edit.
Oh.
So if there's something wrong and like the one person who can admin isn't available, we're all kind of SOL.
All right.
So
Tom, you said something about 3 characters earlier. What's the third criterion here?
No. That wasn't.
Okay.
There was
Is it
no
the
third
2?
criterion.
Is it 2? Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a quarter after 11.
Yeah. Whoa.
Thank you for saying that.
Oh, we got to get to work, some of us. We have responsibilities.
That's
And
right.
stuff. Well, thank goodness there's no questions on the on the Facebook, I don't think today. Before we get into that, though, I do want to take a second to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. You can join yourself, you yourself can join patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. Any valuation gets you access to our Discord, as well as our monthly patron hangout, which we just had this past Sunday. It's only been one in attendance. We may be changing the day of the week, though, because Amber works a crazy early shift now, and we have to adjust for her schedule. So once again, we're going to be changing that day again. Sorry, guys. But that said, the number of valuations that you can join in at that, and all of them get you access to cool communications with us, direct line, as it were. And I swear, every so often, I do remember to reply to things on that. Every so often, I swear. All right. But that said, like I said, nobody really questioned anything. No questions on the Facebook. So we move now to the chat, the live chat. Put in capital letters question before your question, if you do have one for us. And the first question is from CA, who wants to know, over the weekend, I opened my first Secret World Battle World set, and in it, I got the super rare Regent. Any advice on how to play him? Now, I think we're talking about he's opened the packs, he now owns the figure. What does he do with it from here? So, Tom, what do you think? What do you do with Regent from here? I have to look at him.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing to remember, because almost no one has it, is that he could choose any improved targeting, and the improved targeting that is most useful is ignores blocking, but doesn't destroy it. Because everyone knows the destroy one square blocking and see through it thing, which is what they give out. They never really seem to give out the just straight up ignores blocking, and that is super useful. So, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind when I think Regent is find some way to put them onto a theme team where you can win map, try to get into an underground cavern or the WizKids office, or if you're playing Rock, then use their tunnel cavern thing. Hide behind as much blocking as you can, kill the lowest point thing that is 50 points or more and steal a power, and just gain power and go, 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 go. Stick a prob controller next to them. That's the sort of the default thing to do with Regent. I think that Regent is actually a bit of a dangerous play at 240 points if we're talking constructed. Even in sealed, it's dangerous, but less so, especially if you can find a way to pull a prob controller. I think that in a lot of ways, you'll get more mileage getting a more attractive target out there as your sort of principal attacker, and let Regent be a really strong secondary who just gets stronger and stronger the longer he doesn't die. That would be my 2 cents.
All right, Mike?
I think the way you play him is you crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lecture of the women.
I can agree with that one. Jay?
Nothing to add except for the fact that there is, as far as I know, only literally one character with that form of improved targeting, and that's because it was errated. It's the pocket tank, or the tank that you get from the pocket tank, which never comes up because it's never piloted.
I thought that ignored outdoor blocking or something like that.
It used to, but that doesn't exist anymore. So they errated it. So you can check under the rules forum errata section. So that is a handy thing to know.
The more and more I want to pilot this tank when I drop it on people.
Right?
All right. Next up, Mako Fedor. How much faith does very specific Tom have in the body block strategy?
How much faith do I have in the body block strategy?
I thought that was my thing.
It feels like it's relating to something specific, but I can't figure out what it is.
Maybe Green Arrow? I don't know.
Sorry, what?
Maybe Green Arrow, because he's the only thing that ignores characters now?
Well...
he's not the only thing that ignores characters.
I mean, pretty much.
Maybe the only thing that's getting played.
If the question
unseen can't attack.
If the question is just as it is intended, is how much faith do I put in body blocking? The answer would be not much. I don't. It's not something that I think of a lot because there's just so much mobility in the game. I think it's a hard thing to pull off. But there is potential there. Is that related to something we were talking about earlier? I don't know.
I don't know.
By
I
the-
know he's asked me several times, and I often tell him put people in front of people.
Well, it's not bad, but the problem is that you're usually just giving points to other points. If it's one of these self-defeating strategies, because if it's really good, like you're body blocking with the ha 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 Joker or something like that, your opponent will work around it. Whereas if you're body blocking with just a lower point figure that can still give up points, they'll just take those points and then run away. So
what if you're body blocking with the Iron Fist and as a result can't get shot, or body blocking with Lockjaw going, whatever, man, whatever.
well, again, Lockjaw is also falls into that category of things like people will find a way to get around it, and Iron Fist is that's not body blocking at that point. That's just fighting.
and by the way, Jay Solomon, Starshine, by the way.
Oh, well, that's
And
sure is relevant.
Starshine with exospecs.
So you're saying
Any
a character.
A
I'm
character.
just saying.
literally
Right.
the only time you don't play exospecs is if you have Darwin on your team because he doesn't specify between opposing.
Yeah, I know.
That's literally-
Exospecs makes everybody amazing. They're exospecial.
Oh,
Darwin, welcome back to the game. This is going to cause a return to the conversation of Darwin, which will then return Surtur back into the conversation, as Surtur will one-shot kill a Darwin.
I like Surtur ever really go away?
What's that?
Did-
No. The conversation will be, "Hi, I'm bringing Darwin. Fine, I still got Surtur. Darn it!"
Well, isn't that perfect then that both Witch Queen LeFay and Surtur have ruler?
and Mephisto.
I know Mephisto does. Oh, yes.
And Big Boss Hill.
All 85 points of her, Tom. 85.
That's fine.
Yeah, I pay more than Green Arrow for that. Yeah, sure.
I'll just build a 320-point team.
Look, H.C. Realms told me I could do it. Let's see how that goes at WizKids Worlds.
Oh, God.
All right. Next up, Rick Yell has a kind of a rules question, but this is an easy one. I'm no one important trait on Tony Stark Inventor. Opposing characters at 50 points or more can't draw lines of fire to Tony Stark Inventor unless he is the only character in force. Can he be close attacked by characters of 50 points or more? I mean, you can be close attacking him all day, every day, because you don't require a line of fire in order to make a close attack. You just require adjacency.
Right. Just
Except
can't flex him
for-
down first.
It is notable that Giant Reach doesn't work against him.
Yes,
Just
because you
that.
require a line of fire for
Yeah.
Giant Reach. And you wouldn't be able to outwit, but who cares?
Yeah, just punch him.
It is over.
Yeah,
Next
punch
up,
on.
Chris Motherman, the return. It's been a while since I heard from
Oh,
him.
man.
Does Tony Stark Inventor qualify for the Stark car pilot abilities?
No.
No, because he has to be named Tony Stark. Ryan.
Definitely not. If they had that in mind, that would be hilarious, but there's no.
What is this
Good try,
vehicle
though.
What
Cool.
is this steam-powered carriage that you've given me? And we got a nice little question there. If everyone is exo special, is anyone special?
Ooh.
Deep. Just
Well, yes. No.
So,
I got nothing.
and Christopher just kind of blurted out, Exospecs with Chase Hella. Why
Nice.
Chase Hella? Why not the super rare from Mighty Thor?
because that's not Kate Blanchett?
Doesn't matter.
They're,
I don't
they're
care
all
about
good.
you can keep your Kate Blanchett. I'm bringing back my triples. I can't believe that nonsense worked in one tournament once, and I can't let it go. All right, that's about it for the day. Tom, Mike, Jay, thank you very much for joining us this week. Anything before we see our way out, Tom?
Nope. This has been a great night. Thanks, everybody.
Mike?
Just congratulations again to Black Panther.
Yeah, exactly.
Black Panther did a really good job winning the WKO in Whitby. Let's get another look at the... Oh, I don't have it up right. Hold on a second. Let's get another look at the guy there.
I wish Tom had the literal Black Panther in hand right now.
I wish. He's in the other room in a number of pieces that I smashed him in
he's-
rage when I got home.
Yeah, that was really shitty of me
thinking
to win
about
with
what he's
him.
done.
It's really rude of me to win with him and then give him to you. How
Like,
terrible.
literally. Like, that's how much you didn't care. Hey, look at this. Just give him away.
So, congrats to the Black
This is
Panther for his
wild.
win at the WKO in Whitby. All right. Quick question kind of found its way in there, so all joking aside, we'll get this one in there. Before we move in, we're going to finish up this question and then go. Mike, anything you want to add before we go? Jay? Beauty. Awesome. All right, so the next question. Earth X. Oh, am I ever excited for some Earth X? Wait, that's not a question. Do we think we'll finally see the return of the Fantastic Four-ish figures by the time Earth X rolls around? When's Earth X due?
No, it was good said end of 2019 at the earliest or something. It's not happening.
That sounds about right. Yeah. Because the Fox deal isn't done. Most of the sets for next year are already designed. So
they designed like a
yeah.
Yeah, they designed a good solid year ahead.
Yeah,
really,
so
doesn't change
at least 6 months ahead.
Best case scenario.
Go ahead. What was that, Tom?
The absolute best case scenario, they throw
Shut
him
up,
in
Jay.
less.
I said go, Tom.
Oh.
Nothing. I was just going to say nothing's going to stop us from getting a Hulk in diaper. That's all I want.
Man, I can't wait for my con exclusive Battle World Doctor Doom. That's all I'm saying.
I'm looking forward to all the generic Wolverines.
Sorry, Jay. What were you gonna say before I had to yell at you because I was gonna let Tom talk?
Well, because you love Tom more than me.
I let Tom talk and you kept not shutting up.
I didn't hear you say Tom.
I don't know if he loves Tom more than everybody else. We just
all
dislike you more than everybody else.
A pleasure to meet at the WKO was the Black Panther. That guy was really awesome. Let's get another picture of him on the screen there for everybody.
It's that time of night.
Oh man, this is why Judge.
Jay,
and why you are judged.
Oh boy, you had to know this was coming.
Oh no, I was saying it myself in the beginning. It was Black Panther, and I just happened to be the one that pulled him.
Nah, never win, Jay. You'll never live it down.
I was gonna say, you knew the first time you won, you were gonna get the hardest time for winning.
I mean, I apparently cheated at least twice because I beat Tom twice, which is just impossible. So
no. Tom has gotten second place before, and therefore, since you put Tom in second place, you put Tom in his place.
Oh, that's true. I like Tom's place. I buy nice suits there.
My place, by the way, is not even counting anymore this year, apparently. So I really don't have much to say except hi from the Peanut Gallery. Hope you guys had fun up there. All right, I want to take a second to thank our friends over at MajesticCCG.com. Check them out, the Apex Insiders, where I don't deserve to be. You get articles from some great minds in the game. Strategy and team sharing occurs on there on a semi-regular basis. Jay's a regular contributor. I'm a semi-regular contributor. I think my last article was rambling about what I think they're going to do with the first WWE set, which I'm super excited for. And I will never not be excited for. Yeah. So check them out. Check us out at patreon.com/clicks. And, any support helps us keep the show running. And, when I give these guys battle royales at Worlds, they'll thank me, I'm sure. And, Mike will send you something nice. Pat on the back. Thank you. Digital pat on the back.
I'll miss you guys.
In the meantime, thank you to our sponsors. Thank you guys for watching us live. Thank you guys for watching us in the archives. And it is time to start getting those teams ready for Worlds. Get your buddies across the table and get some practicing, guys. Because practice will make your team. Tom, what will it make it?
Better.
Have a good night, everybody.